Dejan entrar a cualquiera aquí, ¿eh?
Όπου είναι ο δημοσιογράφος, τους φωνάζουν και πάνε αντίστοιχα. Εμείς δεν έχουμε δημοσιογράφο, εμείς φωνάζουμε πάντα. Όπου είμαστε εμείς έρχεται.
Adelante. Ahora.
Gracias a eso, igual que el año. Y bueno, se le nota que me he puesto aquí 3 kilos que vamos. Y sí es verdad que hay que hacer algo siempre. Con el empuje que tenemos, haces algo.
Sí, porque no...
Es que si meten más, if they put more people going through this, you're okay with this. With this, no.
Same for your president.
Yeah. There are categories here. There are categories here. There are categories.
entrance is juist voorbij die witte panelen, hè, ja. Juist onder de passerel door en naar rechts. Achter de tent, ja. Alleen Owana komt mee. Premier gaat hier achter.
Que sea leve la mañana. Hay que regañarle, que sale. Ya son 5 minutos.
Good morning. Let me first of all thank the government of Spain and Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez for hosting this summit in Madrid. This will be a historic and transformative summit for our alliance. We meet in the midst of the most serious security crisis we have faced since the Second World War. And we see that allies are able to demonstrate unity, that we see an alliance which is responding in a strong and unified way to all the threats and the challenges we face. It will be a transformative summit because we will make historic decisions. We will agree a new strategic concept for our alliance, which is a blueprint for how to take NATO into the future in a more competitive and dangerous world to protect all allies and close to 1 billion citizens. We will agree a fundamental shift to our deterrence and defense with more forward deployed combat formations, with more high readiness forces, and also with more pre-positioned equipment. This is the biggest overhaul of our collective defense since the end of the Cold War that will be agreed at this summit. And thirdly, we will, of course, express our support to Ukraine. I'm glad that President Zelensky will address all the leaders as we start the summit today. And we will also agree a comprehensive assistance package for Ukraine. NATO and NATO allies have supported Ukraine for many, many years, but of course after invasion we have all stepped up. And then the leaders will also make an historic decision to invite Finland and Sweden to become members of NATO. And this is based on the agreement reached between Finland, Sweden and Turkey yesterday. And this is a good agreement for Finland, Sweden, for Turkey and for all of us. And finally, we will recommit and take stock of the enormous progress that has been made when it comes to burden sharing, increase defense investments across the whole alliance over the last years. We will also make many other decisions, address climate change, cyber. We will establish a new innovation fund. But all in all, this will really be an historic and transformative summit demonstrating the alliance unity and the ability of NATO to adapt when the world is changing.
Secretary General Keir Simmons from NBC News. The last strategic concept said that NATO poses no threat to Russia. Will those same words be in this new strategic concept, and how much of it will be about the threat from Russia?
So this concept will of course reflect that the world is totally different now compared to 2010 when we agreed the current strategic concept. The current strategic concept was agreed in 2010 in Lisbon. I was there as Norwegian Prime Minister, and then actually President Medvedev, who was then the president of Russia, participated in the meeting. And we agreed that Russia is a strategic partner for NATO, and we had meetings with Russia at the NATO summit. And of course, this will not be the case now. I expect that when leaders agree the strategic concept, they will state clearly that Russia poses a direct threat to our security, and of course that will be reflected throughout the strategic concept. And also the other decisions we take, for instance, to invest more and also to upgrade and strengthen our collective defense and our deterrence and defense posture. The strategic concept will also reflect a new reality in other ways. China is not mentioned with a single word in the current strategic concept. China will be part of the concept we agree at this summit. And I expect that allies will agree that China poses or is a challenge to our values, to our interests and to our security. China is not an adversary, but of course we need to take into account the consequences for our security when we see China investing heavily in new modern military capabilities, long-range missiles, nuclear weapons, and also trying to control critical infrastructure, for instance, 5G networks in our own countries. So, and then we will address climate change and many other issues that were hardly mentioned in the current strategic concept. So the strategic concept will reflect that NATO is changing when the world is changing. That's why NATO is the most successful alliance in history, is that we actually are able to adapt when we need to adapt.
Secretary General Hadley Gamble with CNBC. Congratulations on this historic agreement. I know this was down to the wire for you yesterday. I want to ask you specifically about those 300,000 troops in high readiness. Where are those troops going to come from? Can you elaborate for us on the cost structure there? Who's going to be bearing the brunt of those costs, and how quickly, in terms of a timeline, we're going to see them getting to the front, basically? And then also, when you think about what happens next with regards to Sweden and Finland, obviously you're inviting them to be part of the alliance, but how quickly will we see boots on the ground?
So, when it comes to the increased readiness forces, I expect them to be ready by next year. We'll take the decision now, and then we'll start implementation, and then they will be available and ready next year. That's the plan. We need to understand that these forces, of course, will be paid and organized by the different NATO allied countries. So they will be based in their home countries, but they will be pre-assigned to specific territories, to specific countries and territories to be responsible for the protection of these territories. So meaning, for instance, that what we have seen now, Germany, they have designated a specific brigade to the protection of Lithuania. And that brigade, and that will then be the case for the other brigades and other combat formations, they will then be pre-assigned to specific territories, also many of them in the eastern part of the alliance. They will train there, they will learn how to operate together with the home defense forces, and then we will pre-position the equipment, heavy equipment, fuel stocks, and many other things they need to operate in that specific territory. So the combination of both increasing the number of forward forces, also combat formations, boosting up the battle groups we already have, but also pre-position a lot of equipment, and then have pre-assigned forces that can quickly be deployed to specific areas where they have trained and know the terrain and know the challenges they will meet. That combination of those three factors, pre-positioned equipment, more forward deployed forces, and higher readiness forces based in the homeland but ready to deploy, that are, at least for the land element, the most important elements on how we are going to strengthen our deterrence and defense in a new security environment.
Secretary General, we saw the articles of the memorandum agreed by Turkey, Sweden and Finland yesterday. What I would like to ask is, did parties determine a calendar for those steps? And if so, what will be the first steps to be taken?
Well, Finland and Sweden have already taken steps to tighten their legislation on terrorism. So this is something which has already started to be implemented. And I think this agreement is extremely important because it reflects the commitment we have to stand together as allies to address all our security concerns, of course also including the fight against terrorism. It also states clearly that Finland and Sweden will work even more closely with Turkey on issues related to exchange of information, extradition, and in general the fight against terrorism. We'll also have a session tomorrow at this summit where we will address the challenges from the south and terrorism, and I expect that to be a very important decision where allies will express their commitment to also address the security concerns that Turkey is facing related to terrorism. One more last thing, I forgot to answer the question about how long this will take. Well, we will make a decision today, or at least at the summit, to invite Finland and Sweden to become members. That's unprecedented quick. I think you can hardly find any other accession process with so few weeks between the application that happened mid-May and the invitation that will happen now. Then, of course, after the invitation, we need the ratification process in 30 parliaments. That always takes some time, but I expect also that to go rather quickly, because allies are ready to try to make that ratification process happen as quickly as possible. But of course, I cannot promise anything on behalf of 30 parliaments. They have to make those decisions themselves.
Thank you very much, colleagues. That's all we have time for.
Okay, thank you.
Sí, ya podéis venir porque
Can somebody switch on the PA, maybe? Okay. So it's either Spain's microphone or Saxon. So
yeah, so we'll take this one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. No, it's clear and loud. Okay, thank you.
Bueno, a ver si poco a poco vamos perfilando esto y que vaya quedando cada vez mejor.
¿Me puedo ir tranquila o
Sí,
puedo
nada,
hacer
ya.
retenes?
Sí, ya.
Yo tengo más periódica.
Vale, sí. Quedaría. Sí, no te preocupes. Está ahí Julio.
Because see the delegación.
Vota mucho esto.
Anglais, anglais, anglais. Allume ton micro peut-être. Ouais. Ouais, je t'entends. Ouais, mais le plus, ouais, comme ça. Je vais faire, on va faire toutes les langues. C'est comme ça, on est sûr, ok? Donc anglais, 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 anglais. Je passe sur le deuxième poste. Anglais, anglais, anglais. Je vais passer sur le français.
C'est bon. C'est bon. Oui, ok. Ok.
Anglais, 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 anglais. Anglais, anglais, anglais. Ok, je me suis mis le poste. Anglais, 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 anglais. Je vais sur l'anglais dans la cabine à côté. Anglais, 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 anglais. Anglais, 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 anglais. Je vais sur le français.
Ok, c'est bon. Oui. Ok.
Anglais, 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 anglais. Anglais, 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 anglais. Je vais sur l'espagnol.
Oui. Oui. Ok.
Inderdaad, ja. Een aantal mensen waren er niet op
Anglais, 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 anglais. Anglais, anglais, anglais. Je vais aller en espagnol maintenant. Oui. Oui. Oui.
Good morning. From my perspective, this summit is already it's already a success. With the fact that Sweden and Finland are joining, this is going to make the European continent safer. It's also going to make the NATO a more robust partner, a stronger partner. And I think it shows the unity that NATO has shown over the past months, that it makes us attractive. And when countries like Sweden and Finland join, I think this is great news. We'll also have the occasion to interact with President Zelensky. I think it's important we keep talking to him, and we make it very clear that this war can only be won on the battlefield, and we should continue to support President Zelensky and the Ukrainian population as much as possible to be able to win the war on the battlefield against the Russian aggression. Maybe last element, yes, NATO needs to update its strategy. That is why we will be discussing the strategic concept here today. Thank you.
President Zelensky, what is NATO and what is Belgium ready to do more to support Ukraine?
Well, from the Belgian side, we've been supporting Ukraine from the start. We were one of the first countries that delivered military material to Ukraine. We will continue in doing so, and I'm convinced that supporting the Ukrainians and Ukrainian forces on the battlefield is the way in which we will make a difference, and is the way in which you can stop the Russian aggression. And we know that the NATO support in a broad sense has been there from the start and will continue to be there.
Prime Minister, Prime Minister, Prime Minister.
Yes. But I'll take that one first.
Yeah, Prime Minister, Georgian TV company Rustavi 2. Today you also will meet partner countries. So what will be 30 leaders' main message to Georgia?
Well, one important message to Georgia was last week when we talked about European enlargement, and I think it was a very important message we gave and to Georgia and to Moldova and to Ukraine. Some people will say, well, it's symbolic. But symbolic messages are extremely important today, and it shows that the countries who aspire to our values of a free society and a society that is open, where peace can be there and people can live in security, that we're open to that. We know that it is going to be a long process. We know that it will take a lot of reforms.
So the Belgian minister's telling us how we can also go to some of the other
Swedish radio, what do you think about
So Latvia welcomes Finland and Sweden in the alliance because it's a considerable strengthening of NATO. and we're expecting bold decisions, especially strengthening of the eastern flank of NATO. Thank you.
President, one question on Ukraine. What can Latvia do to support?
Yeah, Latvia is one of the main supporters of Ukraine. We are helping Ukraine so that we have given already 0.7% of our GDP for the help of Ukraine. It's together with Estonia and Poland and Lithuania the biggest help with respect to our GDP. I would be short concerning Ukraine. Ukraine must win the war. Thank you.
What can Finland and Sweden do together?
president this year. Yes, for ministers, yeah?
Yes. Yes, I recognize. Sorry?
Juan, tú no me oyes por esto, ¿no?
It's a hectic day.
Leo.
Fluido, yo estoy viendo. Pareja, la relación abierta. Es una relación abierta. Ahí Diego, te digo alto y claro. Parar. Esta pequeña también tiene que ser boca para un país pequeño.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. It's going to be a long meeting and very important issues being discussed at this NATO summit. So we're both going to talk about the strategic concept and the current situation. So I think it's going to be for all the NATO members, not least also because we are seeing new members joining the alliance, Sweden and Finland, which is of course a major event in the history of the alliance.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Let me pose a question in Icelandic for you. Þín viðbrögð við þessum tíðindum í gær að Finnland og Svíþjóð verða nú samþykkt sem verðandi meðlimir. Var þetta mikilvæg ákvörðun og hvað tók til þess að þetta gerðist að þínu mati?
Sko það liggur algjörlega fyrir að Ísland og Íslensk stjórnvöld hafa stutt Finnland og Svíþjóð skilyrðislaust í þeim ákvörðunum sem þau tóku með lýðræðislegum hætti, þannig að sjálfsögðu fögnum við þessu. En leið höfum við sagt að okkur finnist það ekki rétta leiðin af Tyrklandi að setja skilyrði óskild mál við inngöngu þessara þjóða í bandalagið.
And from Swedish radio, what do you think that Sweden and Finland can do for NATO?
I think Sweden and Finland are obviously very strong democratic societies with strong social infrastructure. So obviously Iceland is very happy to have those countries within the alliance. We think we will have a stronger Nordic voice within the alliance, and obviously the Nordic countries share those values of strong democratic tradition, human rights and social infrastructure. Thank you. Tack.
Morning. This is the unique opportunity for all the allies to show the strength, cohesion concerning our current and future tasks. This summit is unique following Canada specifics. Never ever in the allies' history since 1949 there have been a summit organized and at the same time facing the war on the European continent. You can imagine that the war in Ukraine, the Russian invasion in Ukraine, is fully dictating the agenda of the summit. So this morning, I think by the end of this day, we should accept the new strategic concept, which has been fully synchronized by all the allies yesterday. And of course, we should again approve the memorandum of understanding reached yesterday. For the membership bid of these two countries. So we are going to invite these two countries to join the alliance as soon as possible after all of these protocol procedures are approved by all the allies. So I think that this is the right time to show that we are with the increased solidarity and cohesion within the alliance. And we, of course, should fully support Ukrainian people when defending their territory, defending their freedom, in essence, fighting for the democratic values and freedom of all of us. Thank you.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
No, he's...
You're asking me about the Western Balkan situation? You know, they are regarding the NATO alliance, or regarding the European Union integration. Regarding the NATO alliance, you know, this war in Ukraine has provoked even further some of the hybrid threats we are facing in the past 4 years at least. Speaking specifically for North Macedonia, I can tell you that we are facing these hybrid threats coming to us from the Russian Federation since 2018, since our referendum on the name, when we have changed the name in order to enter the alliance. And there are still few fragile points in the region. Everybody knows, north of Kosovo, Republika Srpska, so few fragile points we should be more aware of, and not only the Western Balkan countries, but the whole Western Alliance should take care more and pay more attention to these fragile points, soft points, so to say, in the region. Otherwise, the destabilization of the whole region might start somewhere.
Mr. President, good morning, Mr. President. Georgian Public Broadcasting Corporation, you are one of the newest members of NATO, and you know how important
the newest.
you know how important is door open policy. what will be your message to the country who wants to become member, also especially Georgia?
I'm quite firm when saying that the best policy of NATO throughout the decades has been the open door policy. It should not change. We are openly supporting the bid of Georgians to enter the NATO, as we are fully in line with other allies in supporting the membership bid for other countries from the so-called Eastern Partnership of the European Union. So we think that NATO should hold the doors open for everybody who would like to enter the alliance. You can imagine today we have with us the countries from all continents. We have from Australia, from Japan, we have the partners in Colombia, we have in South Korea. I cannot see any reasonable ground, any reasonable argument why Georgia and all the countries who would like to join NATO alliance will be prevented of doing so. And I would like to stress especially this for Ukraine. It should be a sovereign right of each nation to pick up their foreign policy and their security architecture they would like to be the part of. No other countries. So full sovereignty, that is the basic democratic right of each sovereign nation, member of the United Nations.
Mr. Penderovsky, you told about the fragile position on Balkan. How do you see the position of Serbia? Because Belgrade supports territorial integrity of Ukraine, but that was not when it was 99 and the bombing of Yugoslavia.
You should direct that question to the Serbian leadership. Certainly, it's not. We are neighboring country with Serbia. We are neighboring country with Kosovo and a few others. We have good bilateral relationship with the Republic of Serbia. So, but certainly, I am not authorized to speak on their behalf. Thank you.
Welcome to sunny Spain. If you want to address the media, you have a microphone.
strengthen our collective defense. Thank you so much. Ďakujem. Ďakujem. Slovenčina ešte. Ďakujem veľmi pekne. Som tu na samite, ktorý, ako som povedala, jeden z najdôležitejších po skončení studenej vojny. Samozrejme sa veľmi teším dobrej správe, ktorá sa týka členstva Fínska.
Z jakimi oczekiwaniami pan prezydent przyjeżdża na ten szczyt i czego dotyczyła wczorajsza kuluarowa rozmowa z prezydentem Joe Bidenem, a także z kanclerzem Olafem Scholzem?
Dzień dobry Państwu. Wczoraj tych rozmów kuluarowych było bardzo dużo. Oczywiście rozmawialiśmy o bieżącej sytuacji, o tym, co dzieje się. Ja byłem wielokrotnie pytany też o sytuację w Polsce, o to, w jaki sposób my postrzegamy teraz obecnie sytuację na Ukrainie, jak wygląda kwestia obecności uchodźców w Polsce, no te wszystkie bieżące kwestie, ale oczywiście rozmawialiśmy też o tym, jakie są ustalenia, co jeszcze jest negocjowane. No przede wszystkim dwa zasadnicze założenia i wielkie nadzieje, które bierze w to głębie. Pierwsze jedność i jeszcze raz jedność, a po drugie solidarność, bo to jest jakby w ramach Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego najważniejsze i jest niewątpliwie wielkim osiągnięciem Sojuszu to, że wobec rosyjskiej agresji na Ukrainę w tak zdecydowany sposób państwa Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego stanęły razem solidarnie i razem działają i ta pomoc Ukrainie rzeczywiście jest udzielana, dzięki czemu Ukraina nadal trwa wobec potęgi jednak militarnej, jaką jest Rosja. I o tych wszystkich kwestiach rozmawialiśmy wczoraj. No oczywiście jest nowa koncepcja strategiczna bardzo ważna, gdzie jest zmieniony zasadniczo aparat pojęciowy. To jest bardzo ważne. Rosja przestaje być partnerem NATO, co już szczerze mówiąc dawno powinno się stać, ale dzisiaj rzeczywiście jest ona bez wątpienia największym zagrożeniem dla państw NATO, zwłaszcza tych na wschodniej flance. Zresztą Rosja praktycznie bez ogródek grozi po prostu i państwom bałtyckim i słyszeliśmy też wielokrotnie różne wypowiedzi z groźbami na temat Polski. Więc no, chciałbym, żeby to wszystko znalazło odzwierciedlenie także w postanowieniach tego szczytu. No, na pewno będzie mowa o wzmocnieniu bezpieczeństwa, o tych wszystkich zagadnieniach, które nas interesują, ale proszę pamiętać, że NATO to nie tylko wschodnia flanka, to są także inne części świata. To koncepcja NATO 360 stopni, więc na pewno będziemy dyskutowali również o problemie relacji z Chinami i tych wszystkich kwestii, które dzisiaj są sprawami bieżącymi. No, problem potencjalnego kryzysu żywnościowego wywołanego przez Rosję, atakiem na Ukrainę, tego wszystkiego, co dzisiaj w przestrzeni światowej jest ważne.
Panie prezydencie, Wojciech Cegielski, Polskie Radio. Czy mamy już deklaracje innych krajów, Stanów Zjednoczonych, jak rozumiem również, co do przysłania kolejnych żołnierzy w ramach no też tych postanowień dzisiejszych szczytu, co z potencjalną brygadą amerykańską, która miałaby być przez prezydenta Joe Bidena przysłana, no i czy mamy już konkretne decyzje polskie co do wysłania naszych żołnierzy do innych krajów NATO w ramach tej nowej strategii dzisiejszej?
Proszę Państwa, ja przede wszystkim proszę, żeby nie apelować do mnie o przedstawienie konkluzji szczytu, zanim te konkluzje zostaną ostatecznie sformułowane i zatwierdzone przez wszystkich liderów, bo to jest właśnie zadaniem dzisiejszego spotkania, które dopiero będzie. Oczywiście będą konkretnie odzwierciedlone zapowiedzi wzmocnienia i pewnych koncepcji wzmocnienia bezpieczeństwa, także poprzez zmiany jakby podejścia do obecności sojuszu na wschodniej flance NATO. No, de facto to, co mówiliśmy, że Enhanced Forward Presence musi być przekształcone w Enhanced Forward Defense, za tym musi pójść również i wzmocnienie także i ilościowe tego bezpieczeństwa w przypadku, gdyby następował wzrost zagrożenia, więc te wszystkie elementy oczywiście będą dzisiaj jeszcze dyskutowane i z całą pewnością znajdą odzwierciedlenie w konkretnych zapisach tego, co będzie ostatecznymi konkluzjami szczytu. Natomiast co do tego, co będą zapowiadały poszczególne państwa NATO, bardzo proszę, żeby to zostawić liderom.
Mr. President, Georgian TV company Rustavi 2, today you will meet also partner countries. What's your opinion about open door policy and what will be 30 leaders' main message to Georgia? Because as you know, we are waiting also our time to be a member of NATO.
We, Poland, always support open door policy to NATO and also to European Union. So this is our stable position, and that's all.
Mr. President, does 300,000 NATO troops on high alert increase the risk of a direct conflict with Russia or make Europe safer?
Make Europe safer, of course. Russia now is an aggressor in Ukraine. Russia attacked Ukraine, and Russia is a threat for Europe, but not only for Europe, for whole NATO. This is very clear situation now. There is no doubts.
According to Sweden and Finland, what do you think about Sweden and Finland as a member of NATO?
This is very important and very significant decision of Finland and Sweden. We are very happy in Poland that they would like to join NATO, and I hope that the final decision will be today. Thank you.
Chancellor, welcome.
Meine Damen und Herren, das ist heute ein ganz besonderer Moment für die transatlantische Zusammenarbeit, für die NATO. Wir werden wichtige Weichenstellungen hier treffen, Weichenstellungen, die für die Sicherheit Europas, für die Sicherheit aber auch der Welt von großer Bedeutung sind. Eine der Konsequenzen der Zeitenwende, die wir erleben, ist, dass wir sehr viel mehr Geld für Verteidigung ausgeben werden. Deutschland spielt dabei eine zentrale Rolle. Wir haben ein Sondervermögen von 100 Milliarden Euro auf den Weg gebracht und werden jetzt einen erheblichen Beitrag leisten zur Stabilität und Sicherheit, die die NATO gewährleistet, für den Frieden, der uns allen so wichtig ist. Wir werden unsere Zusammenarbeit auch verbessern, indem wir die Staaten im östlichen Bereich der NATO besser schützen, mit einer besseren Zusammenarbeit und mit mehr Truppen, die auch stationiert sind, um konkret die Grenzen zu verteidigen für Fälle eines Angriffs. Und dann geht es natürlich auch darum, dass wir unsere Zusammenarbeit verbessern. Es ist etwas Besonderes, dass hier die Beitritte von Schweden und Finnland anstehen. Etwas, das uns sehr, sehr wichtig ist. Beide Länder passen sehr gut zu unserem Bündnis. Insofern wird dieses eine wichtige Zusammenkunft der NATO sein, zu einem ganz wichtigen Zeitpunkt in unserer Geschichte und ein ganz wichtiger Beitrag zur Friedenssicherung in der Welt.
Chancellor Scholz.
Welche Rolle spielen Atomwaffen in der aktuellen Krise?
Die NATO hat hier seit Jahren eine Strategie, die sie weiter verfolgt. Das ist etwas, was wir so weiterführen, wie wir das seit vielen Jahrzehnten tun.
Chancellor, could you walk us through, please, your contribution to this 300,000 increased high readiness force? And also, could you comment, please, on the cap being discussed by G7 nations for Russian oil? How would that work exactly?
Wir sind hier bei der NATO und diskutieren über die Fragen, die für unsere gemeinsame Sicherheit wichtig sind. Es ist ganz zentral, dass wir insgesamt unsere Fähigkeit, jederzeit das Bündnis zu verteidigen, ausbauen. Dazu zählen auch die von Ihnen angesprochenen Fragestellungen. Und das werden wir auch weiter tun. Deutschland wird seinen entsprechenden Anteil leisten. Ich habe ja schon gesagt, dass wir über sehr, sehr große Fähigkeiten verfügen und in Zukunft noch mehr verfügen werden durch die Mittel, die wir zusätzlich auf den Weg gebracht haben. Was die Frage außerhalb unserer heutigen Zusammenkunft antrifft, die Sie gestellt haben, ist es so, dass wir bei den G7 uns fest vorgenommen haben, diese Fragen jetzt sorgfältig zu prüfen.
Herr Bundeskanzler, Präsident Zelensky wird heute auch zugeschaltet sein beim NATO-Treffen. Welche Versprechungen sollte die NATO machen und wie wird sich Deutschland daran beteiligen? Welche weitere Versprechungen?
Es ist ganz klar, dass alle Staaten, die zur NATO dazugehören und noch viele, viele weitere, sich einig wissen. Russland hat mit seinem brutalen Angriffskrieg die Souveränität und Integrität der Ukraine verletzt. Und deshalb ist es nur richtig, dass die Staaten, die hier zusammenkommen, aber viele andere ihre Beiträge dazu leisten, dass die Ukraine sich verteidigen kann, mit finanziellen Mitteln, mit humanitären Hilfen, aber auch indem wir Waffen zur Verfügung stellen, die die Ukraine dringend braucht. Die Botschaft ist, das werden wir so lange fortsetzen und auch so intensiv fortsetzen, wie es notwendig ist, damit die Ukraine sich verteidigen kann.
Herr Bundeskanzler, bei den Beratungen gestern zwischen Finnland, Schweden und der Türkei hat abschließend auch NATO-Generalsekretär Stoltenberg gesagt, es sollte keine Waffenembargo zwischen Verbündeten geben. Wird nach dieser Entscheidung auch Deutschland seine Waffenexportpolitik Richtung Türkei vielleicht überdenken? Danke.
Es gibt keine Embargen. Schönen Dank.
Soome, Rootsi ja NATO, Türgi jõudsid siis kolmepoolsele kokkuleppele, siis Türgi, Rootsi ja Soome selleks, et saaks
Yes, of course.
Срещата на върха на НАТО започва в ключен момент при радикално променена стратегическа среда за сигурност в резултат на руската агресия в Украйна и засилена конкуренция между основните стратегически играчи на глобалната сцена. Предстои на тази среща да приемем новата стратегическа концепция на НАТО, която ще определи заплахите и рисковете пред сигурността и новите политически и военни задачи пред НАТО. Новата среда за сигурност изисква, разбира се, и нови подходи и решения, които да гарантират, че войната в Украйна няма да увеличи своя пространствен териториален обхват. След десетилетия на фокусиране върху борбата с тероризма и укрепването на мира далеч от нашия регион, Алиансът се връща към своята същинска мисия – да бъде гарант на суверенитета, сигурността и териториалната цялост на членовете, а също така това означава повишена отговорност и единство, които ще демонстрираме на тази среща, така че да покажем своето единство и отговорност към колективната отбрана и към сигурността на всяка една страна член. А това, разбира се, означава повишени амбиции, означава повече ресурси. И като национално инвестиране, и като общи разходи за отбрана. България активно участва в дискусиите по новата стратегическа концепция, свързани най-вече с създаването на нови адекватни отбранителни способности, повишаване на логистичния капацитет на енергийната и транспортна свързаност с умело и ефективно използване на общите фондове на НАТО. Знаете, че през 2019 година България беше сред инициаторите за създаване на ускорителя за иновации в отбраната и на фонда за иновации на НАТО. И това ще бъде един от основните акценти на днешната среща. За нас е от стратегическо значение не само да внедряваме водещи технологични решения в изграждането на собствен отбранителен капацитет, но и много важно да интегрираме нашата отбранителна индустрия и отбранителна наука в водещите технологични и производствени проекти на НАТО. Това е от ключова важност за преодоляване на разделението между страни производители и страни консуматори на отбранителни продукти и услуги, нещо за което апелирам отдавна. Очакваме, разбира се, да се разгледат и въпросите за преодоляване на вторичните ефекти от войната в Украйна, като глобалната заплаха за продоволствената сигурност и проистичащите от това нови мигрантски вълни. С интерес очакваме най-сетне и поканата към Швеция и Финландия за присъединяване към Алианса. Що се касае до укрепването на източния фланг, предстои да се вземат важни решения за дългосрочната адаптация на отбранителния издържащ потенциал. На тази среща само ще разгледаме на високо политическо ниво потенциала за нарастване на многонационалните бойни групи до ранг на бригада. Но реалните оперативни решения за този подход тепърво предстои да се разглеждат на военно-политическо ниво. Що се касае до изгонването на руските дипломати от България, не мога да ви дам информация, не мога да дискутирам този въпрос, защото не разполагам с необходимата информация. Надявам се, министърът-председателят в оставка да е взел това решение на базата на солидна и достоверна информация и да го е обмислил добре и като мащаби, и като последствия. Благодаря ви.
step in one of the three cameras. Indeed, in the middle. Yes, the middle one. Okay, whatever. Okay.